No, it's so good. You have to do every now and then this check,
Yeah.
make sure everything is right.
Are we right?
Yeah, it's hearing the audio. 4 hours and 4 minutes left.
Whew, we'll be here forever. But this is great though. We're onto something, are we not?
We are onto something. I like it.
But truly, so I go, oh, life is meaningless.
Okay, so let's rewind. We were getting to the point that in order to understand or to give a system belief of values on life or not feeling lonely, overcoming the fear of cracking your habits and breaking the walls of your inner self, you have to overcome the fear. And then you get to the point that we were starting at the beginning, that life is a paradox, it's not one thing.
Yes, so this is what I said. This is where life is meaningless is your friend, okay? Because paradoxically, if it has meaning, great. I mean, let me explain this. There are lots of Christians out there who believe 100% they're going to heaven. Well,
we don't know that.
No, they're not going to heaven. It's not real. None of that. It's a story. It's a glorious story to explain. And it's also very egotistical, I believe, to go, I am chosen by...
Do you not believe, for example, in that we reincarnate into other things? Or
no, don't be silly.
Just flies away?
No,
So you believe in...
I believe we have this... You might die at 14, poof, gone, whatever. You had that little brief window where the meaningless of it all is condensed into 14 years. For me, I've had a life. I'm experiencing it richly and deeply as best I can. I try and suck more out of the marrow. You suck it more out of life. It's fantastic. But there'll come a point where I'll go, gone. And what was me disappears. It becomes dust. It's dust. It becomes just part of elemental stuff.
Nothing. So
nothing.
Nothing of yourself, your acts, your way of kindness.
It stays on in people's memory.
It outlives, not in an egoistical way, but in a source of continuistic way of living.
This is what I said.
Because if it's meaningless, let's not be kind.
No. This is what is carried on.
We are not part of something bigger.
This is what is carried on.
Let's destroy.
Well, that's absurd. Then we don't get to experience beauty, love.
So there's a
sex.
meaning. There's a meaning in beauty, in love, in sex.
No. You're saying there just is that stuff, but it feels better than destruction. It feels better than loss.
Do you think that
it feels better than angst?
That feeling of feeling better for us than love, sex, being kind, is somehow a code in itself in the life, because it's the pathway that life has to be. Because what you are talking about love, maybe not sex, but
why
kindness,
not? That's all.
It was spoken by other religions in their first states.
Okay, let's not worry about sex because it's contentious.
Following the path of God.
Ooh.
No. What I'm saying is that what we are talking is that what other religions or systems of belief say.
Yes, but then
right?
They codify it, moralize it,
of course,
and put
they humanize it. They humanize it,
and they put a meaning on it that isn't necessarily there.
Yes.
And then they go, well, you can't behave in that manner.
What you were saying about give me a child until they're 7 years, and I will do it.
Yeah.
There's a certain way of institution to give power to. You give power to an institution when they control what you believe.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's what your parents do. That's what anyone does.
A family is an institution in a certain way.
Of course it is.
But I also believe in institutions to hold a certain idea of things in life. It's like now if you didn't love your children or whatever, now do whatever you want. Just go sleep behind a tree.
I don't love my children because it's an institution. I love my children as I love my dogs because it's a thing in me that I have nurtured and because I value it.
Okay.
Because it feels good. It makes me feel good. Like, lying on the bed and falling asleep with a nice snuggly blanket and the perfect temperature. I go, oh, how good is this? As opposed to lying outside homeless in the cold, which isn't good. I've done that. It's less comfortable. It's not, paradoxically, it's fine because you get a night's sleep, but I would prefer to be warm and,
To be just about right. Not warm, not hot, not cold. Just,
look, it's like,
that's another part. For example, there's in the Greek mythology that they had 1,000 gods. They said that the good people or the warrior that went to die went to the Islas Bienaventuradas, the Fortunate Islands.
yes, Fortunate Island.
Which happen to be right now, or they say it was the Canary Islands.
The Canaries, yeah, beautiful.
After the pillars of Hercules.
And where did the bad people go?
And what did they say? They went to die and live forever there because it was the perfect temperature all year round, a fertile land for crops and food.
Yep.
And just sun and just...
Byron Bay.
Here we are. Bay, then why move? Why get a troopy and go to South Australia? It's pointless.
Because you need to, you something in you has gone, I need to challenge something in me. And you have to listen to that.
Yes.
Because you don't know what it is.
Yes.
And that's fine. Listen,
That's true.
look, I understand your generation, but like,
I'm speaking through a generation, really. Eh? I'm a
you are.
person, and I mean,
you
I
are, and
also
I'm not
think-
speaking necessarily for my generation.
I'm not
because-
speaking through my generation, but a lot of system of beliefs I had, even if I've read or
Have you
whatever.
changed your systems of beliefs over time?
Yes, I've changed them, or at least I try to change them. For me, the hardest one,
Why?
for me, the hardest one to change or to realize is to understand that my parents, even though I love them with all my heart, doesn't hold the universal truth of life.
No, they don't. They do for them.
Yeah.
They do for them.
And all of things that I act, do, or feel now is a lot of what I've done, and felt in the future, in the past. Sorry.
Yes.
So therefore now I'm trying to understand what I act, do, and feel.
Good.
In order to align it better to what I really am in my inner self.
Correct.
But that's really a tedious job.
No, it's not.
It's a hard job. It's not an easy job. Carl Jung
Again,
said the biggest fight the biggest challenge in itself is just going inside.
Correct.
Going inside to yourself.
Correct. I've been blessed with having that particular bent all my life, where I've examined the inside as well as the outside, as well as other people. So I've examined inside. You're going, why are you thinking that? Listen, I'll give you an example. There's a thing in the theatre or in film.
It's so paradoxical. I'm just thinking about another one I will tell you now, but go for it.
Well, we call it colourblind casting. So you do Romeo and Juliet, and Romeo's black and Juliet's white, but Romeo's parents are maybe a Vietnamese woman and a Sudanese man.
Yeah.
And Juliet's got a black mum and it's just all over the shop. What happens for a entitled whitey watching it, like me, is I go, well, that's not right. It shouldn't be. She should be.
That's your archetype in your mind of a...
Yeah. Then you go, hang on a minute, this racism is happening inside my head. This is insane. It's not there. It's here. I go, what are you thinking that? This is why it's so clever.
And it's so clever also, and it's so dangerous because also that could be used to mess up people's minds. You know what I mean?
And AI is going to be used to mess up people's minds, mate.
I don't know yet.
I do. I can guarantee it. Facebook worked out well.
That's true.
Oh, yeah. The financial system worked out well. Worked out well for everyone.
For a few years.
Oh, a few. Yeah, AI will work out for a few. No worries.
For a few.
For a few.
Not for everybody.
No, not for everybody. Not for anybody, really. Why would you fall? Don't. Just, look, we need to... Here you are asking me all these questions, and the answer is actually to stop all that shit.
To stop asking questions?
No.
To stop all the evolution?
To stop capitalism. To stop a gigantic... in the wheel of machinery. Ka-ching, spoke. Ka-ching. And we all have to end up going, why are we here? What are we not?
Do you think we will eventually figure it out with capitalism?
No, capitalism is going to destroy the planet.
Because I also believe, or truly believe, that there are something inside ourselves that even no matter where we are, in a prison, working, wherever, there's a little voice telling you what feels wrong or right
Of course,
in life.
of course.
Even if you have the biggest riches or you have whatever.
Even if you're the baddest mofo in the cell.
There's like a little, and I think that thing is like something natural of our inner selves, because from a biological standpoint, the evolved timeline is way slower than from a technological standpoint. So our inner self, what we are as humans, is what we were 3,000 years ago in our consciousness, mind, and ideas. Whereas the technology has advanced so much that there's like a miscoherence between what we are
Correct.
and what.
Oh, I would
what are
argue
we
that without a
surrounded
shadow of a doubt. I would argue that. Yes, I would argue that absolutely. And those in charge of the technology don't really care about that little tiny missed opportunity. They don't.
That's why I believe in a certain way that wherever we are in big capitalism or small capitalism, whatever, there has to be somewhere, at some point, somehow, the genuinity of life has to come through somewhere. Now it comes through, like in loneliness, in our society, in our like younger generation, we are so mashed up with so many inputs and ideas and conceptions and ego and high achieving that we feel so lonely because we have sold our soul to an idea. You know, that's maybe so now our generation is showing that little voice, but by loneliness or by solitude and by all those ideas. Other generation, for example, 40-year-old, 50-year-old that are achieving through life, they are showing that loneliness in materialism. They have everything and they want more and more and more things and more things and more things.
It's a shame because that's not the answer. Like what happens anyway, I think naturally for people is I kind of think you spend your first 30, 40 year, like from 0 to 50, let's say, 40 even, acquiring things, friends, possessions, things, more, until it kind of defines who you are. And then there's a certain point where you go, well, I don't want anything else. And you actually spend the next 30, 40 years divesting yourselves of people you know, of stuff, because it's not important.
But you keep certain things. You keep your home.
Yeah, you need, look, a home,
your dog.
not an investment unit. A home is kind of important, I think. Always has been. There's this idea, we talk about the idea of home.
Yeah.
And fortunately or unfortunately, I found my home when I was about 30. And I'm just wedded to the place. But, it's beautiful. I like living here. But it feeds my soul, essentially. This thing you're talking about, this mythical thing that isn't real, but whatever it is inside of me that goes.
That's another thing that we are now receiving so many input. Like, there's so many things out there, and in a certain way, there's like the universe in a drop of water. That's another aphorism. What is everything? You have to see everything, or you can find everything in the stillness of your backyard and just chilling and being relaxed.
Yeah, you can. You can.
But you first have to go out. It's like going out
you don't.
to then go back again. It's like closing the circle.
Maybe.
You just go out, see that there's nothing outside, realize, and then you come back to the starting point.
But like in a sense, Germán, if you do for like a minute, and that camera's rolling away, and you'll see and hear nothing happening. Nothing.
But everything is happening. The trees are slowly growing inch by inch.
Yeah. No. But
The inner liquids of the trees are slowly.
the earth is. There's things moving in there. There's insects. There's birds.
The bee is just flying.
Yeah.
The sun is changing and going down slowly.
But this is
So that's another paradox. In a concrete pieces of time is still.
But
infinite.
in this moment, right? Like, what is there to be unhappy about? What is there to be happy or not? Like neither. It's very pleasant, but there's nothing happening. So there's no reason to feel anything. There's no reason to be anxious. There's no reason to be. Like if you just sit here, you don't have to do anything. Now, if you can stretch that out over a long enough time, it's really joyous. But, invariably, you'll have to go do something.
And your mind will ask for you, hey,
Your mind. Okay, great. Train the mind. Don't let it. That's what the whole point. And if you have your dark soul of the dark night of the soul, then you want to sort out what that was about, what it is about, and you may not ever get an answer on what it's about. I went through a dark night of the soul for about 6 months when I was 35. I don't know really what it was about. Probably a deep dissatisfaction with where I was at or what I was doing, or I don't know. I can't remember really what it was about. And I came out of it and we kept moving, and I don't think I'll ever have another one. I don't think things don't worry me so much anymore. I don't know. And I don't know look, I can live with I don't know. Maybe your generation can't, but I don't know is fine. I don't need to
That's also, we're all just forced to give always answers to things.
Don't know. I don't know. I always say,
when people ask you, what are you going to do with this?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Great. Perfect. Great place to start. Great place to start. Nowhere.
There's also like not an aphorism, but a military saying that no plan resists the confrontation with the enemy. So, in a certain way, no plan resists the confrontation with real life. You have an idea of life, and then life takes you through other paramounts.
Whoopsie! It's going to come at you. It'll come at you. Even if I stayed in my room with the
something would happen.
Something will happen.
Some idea,
something external will happen.
Gee, it's feeling well. Oh, it's pretty nice, eh?
Oh, I reckon it'd be beautiful. You got the sun behind you, and yeah. I don't know if we answered I don't know, but this is the thing. You're not going to answer the question.
It's about nurturing the ideas.
But look, for your generation,
it's impossible. It's important for.
And I've talked about this.
For us to talk through this, I think it's important.
Your generation, and I've said this, like I've watched it in my own lifetime. In the last 40 years, it's gone from where things were manageable and affordable to a point where they're not affordable or manageable. I've seen population increase by a huge billion people worldwide. Huge amount. 2 billion.
2 billion.
3 billion even. It's like a huge amount.
1 billion has been just 7 years or 8 years.
Well, it's insane. Like in the last 40 years, it's insane.
It has doubled.
Now you've got...
Since 1970s, I think, the population has doubled.
You've all gone and got degrees because you were told to do them, but they cost money, and you're trying to get the job that the degree... But you have to, like this, I was very lucky, I was an actor. So what you learn is these jobs at the top of the pyramid are taken. And you may be lucky enough to get there. I had a shot, maybe, and I didn't get there. I go, it's okay, I did these other things. I still kept working for 40 years doing it. But it's about going, if that's unobtainable, really, and a lot of jobs for you are unobtainable. Somebody I met through your circle is a surfer, and he's just outside the top. But I said to him, that's extraordinary you've got that far. It is fantastic, right? Because very few people have that experience. And all he can do is keep going. And if you'll find a point where you go, you'll know if you really, really want it because you'll get it. Really, really, really deep down.
But then again, it's paradoxical because we were saying that nothing of the achieving really matters.
No, it doesn't. Because when you get there, you'll find it was something inside of you, some belief system that said that was important.
Another Van Morrison quote, a certain night of the soul, he said, what do I do when I get to the top?
What do you do when you get to the top? There's no more mountains to climb. Oh dear. What do you do? Come back down, I guess.
System of beliefs, I think.
Well, I'll tell you, honestly, I haven't worked for 3 years. I've spent that 3 years very wisely, in my mind, climbing down the greasy ladder of success to get my feet back on the ground. Doesn't matter anymore. My agent asked me 2 weeks ago, so what do you think about your career? And I said, it's all just ashes and rubble behind me. And that's all it is. It's not.
Then there
We
was a point.
place.
There was a point of you doing it at that point.
Of course, there was a point in me doing it. It taught me an enormous amount about what it is to be alive. It also taught me paradox. It taught me that it doesn't matter. I'm not trying to get somewhere. I'm trying to survive happily, contentedly,
And the other,
without discontent, without that inner rumbling that goes, oh, I didn't do what I wanted to. No, I went and did what I wanted to do.
and then it happened what it happened.
Yeah,
Good, bad, whatever.
yeah. I know people, friends of mine who, they act a little bit, but not nearly as much as they'd like. They look at me like I'm the luckiest son of a gun on the planet. In some ways, I think I am the luckiest son of a gun on the planet, but they're eating their hearts out because they haven't achieved stuff. And that's, let it go. Let it go. It might not have meant to have happened that way. Maybe there's something else that would please you more. If not, if that's the only thing that's good, go harder at it. Work out how you get to be better. Work out how you do it. Cross some moral boundaries you might have. Cross some belief systems you might have. That's what I think. If you really want something, you can get it.
Yeah, that's
If you really, 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 really want it, and if there's anything in there that you haven't examined and gone, didn't really want it,
Yeah.
you won't get it.
yeah. If you're doubting, you.
If you doubt, you won't get it.
It's funny because we are now having the conversation about the importance of achieving. You know,
Look, the only importance of achieving is the journey of doing it.
probably that could be
But at the end,
a correct answer. The journey.
but at the end, it just amounts to a hill of beans.
That's a paradox.
Yes, it is. Yet again. And listen, this thing with my father was really important. It is all about kindness, Germán. Because that's what you will remember about me.
This is funny. Let me do one thing with the questions I had here written.
Yep.
That I wrote before I left Australia a second time. I wrote here, what do you think about kindness? Without even we speaking this
Yet,
or knowing anything about it. Because we never really talked about it.
no, we didn't. But it is all about kindness. It is all about, look, a starving man comes to my door. I don't go, oh, he's dressed badly, and I just go, you go, what do you need? I've got food. What, you come over around lunchtime. I go, do you want something to eat? This is normal behaviour, isn't it? If I have it,
Give it.
I should share it. The meanness of me going, oh, I've got 3 bottles of beer. Oh, not offering you one seems to me to be incredibly churlish and horrible, and it will poison something in me. It will also poison something in you in regards to me.
Yes.
And the ease of me going, there, that's yours, not counting the cost.
Yes.
And this is, in some ways, you asked me about your generation. It is about kind of making other people more important than you, or just as important.
As you.
Just as they are you.
Everything is intertwined and interconnected. You are me and I'm you.
Yeah. You're like me.
Love is a universal.
You're like me 40 odd years ago. Probably really better looking and, on a kind of smarter.
With a lisp. That handicap.
Yes, unfortunately with a lisp,
Yes.
I ironed that out in myself at a very young age. Because
Slowly, yes.
I knew it wouldn't take.
Polished and shiny. No lisping. Just polished and shiny English speaking.
I knew it wouldn't take me to the lofty heights I needed to get to if I was lisping my way through the rest of my life.
Not good for acting, not good for acting. People won't understand you.
Look, it is the thing of. It is the thing. There are 8 billion people on the planet now.
Yeah.
Well, it's not about you.
No.
No, it's about you are one of 8 billion. How can you walk around going, you're the most important? You're not. Like, you need ego at 20 to kind of go, oh, I am someone. I will develop myself, my this. But if you still have ego after the age of 60 or even 50, really, you've done something wrong. You haven't worked it out properly. That's what I would think. Yet, look, we will always have, but it's not important. It's the I in me is not important. I feel like I'm much more like everyone else these days. And everyone else is like, we're all the same. We want things. There's no meaning to it. It's just this ongoing rush of people who are sharing the same space at a similar time.
So that brings me to the last topic of the conversation, is that after all we've talked about life, kindness, paradox, pointless, meaningless, what role has this nature to do with us? What's the reason behind it? Because we look like right now we're just... Carl Jung did a good comparison between the modern man and the primitive man.
Yeah.
He said that just what differs between them is not that they think differently, because inside themselves they have the same system of beliefs about love, anger, hate. They feel the same, but in which they prioritize what flows through their mind. Okay, in the primitive man,
They prioritize what?
in the primitive man, there's a lot more about the connection, the idea that the plants, the animals, everything is part of me and I'm part of them.
Correct.
Whereas the modern man positions itself on top of things, and the logic and reasoning is on top of it.
Can I tell you this? This is not necessarily modern man. This is Christian man.
The Christian man. But nowadays, you know how the world...
Yes, because we're talking belief
It's
systems.
Judeo-Christian. It's not...
They go, oh, I don't believe in Christianity, but they still believe that they are the top predator. They still believe they are the top dog. And comes back to something I said. We're just another part of the species. We're just another species. And our only objective really is to keep the species
going.
Correct.
And deep inside that, the next level for me is using the mind to unraveling things. And this is, I know that you don't think about it, but for me it's like...
How dare you? I might think about it.
No, you don't think as I think about it.
Yes, correct.
Everything there's here, everything is information. Everything is floating information. Not necessarily information like, oh, you have to get it, but how a tree grows, how a plant fights its disease.
Mind-blowing.
How everything is just floating information.
Mm.
And we human, the species of consciousness, the proper awareness of ourselves is that gives us consciousness, are able to process that information we receive, those inputs we receive, and lay it down in a coherent way, in a structured way, and then finding means to solve problems, whatever thing.
Okay.
So,
can I say that every time man solves a problem, he creates another
one.
Correct. So he's not solving problems. He's making life easier for himself, but by doing that, creates another problem.
Okay. So what you were talking about is not about Christianity, it's about the whole idea of man on top of other things.
That's a Christian idea.
It's a Western idea, let's put it this way.
Yeah. Man has dominion over all the other animals. It's in the Bible.
In the other sort of good or bad, or the paradoxical is not good or bad, it's like all the Eastern cultures in, I don't know how to say it in English, pero Oriente, culturas
Oriental,
orientales.
the East.
They have the idea that life is not a straight line, but life is more like of a circle.
Correct.
You know, and there's no like point or of end or finishing. It's just
correct.
A circle.
It's
just a circle.
Yeah, but it's the yin yang symbol as well. This is
so therefore everything that is around us is part of us, and we are part of it.
Yeah, the more time I spend here, the more this is why I'm not interested in. There's trees I've planted here that I am.
They outgrow you in size, and they will outlive you.
Yes, they will. I'm also connected to them.
Probably me. I will also. They will also outlive me.
Well, with any luck. Go, babies. But no, look, I don't know. I just feel
you're cheering. Go, baby.
Go, trees. I just feel like ever since I got here. When I bought the place, it was like a dream I had when I was 15, hit me in the back of the head, and I went, this is my place. And ever since then, I've just felt an incredible connection to the land, to the 5 acres, to my 5 acres. My 5 acres. The 5 acres.